Hello and welcome back to Signing Social, Unit 1, Lesson 6. We're coming down to the end of the line. So in Lesson 6, we delve a little bit more into people and we branch it out into like the public sphere, I guess you could say. In Lesson 6, we'll start with some more ways to identify people. One is by their age. So you'll have an adult and you just tap the cheek and then the head, because adults are tall. Well, not this adult, I'm only 60 inches, but I'm still an adult, so adult. And then you have teens, you take a T, and you go in the opposite direction that you went for adult. And so next to the forehead, then next to the cheek, so teen. And then children is going to be tap, like you're tapping them on the head at whatever height they are. So you can have a child that is, you know, next to your hip because they're really short, or like me, they're like catching up to me. But one child, you just tap one. But if there's a bunch of children, you just kind of tap however many heads there are. So, and then baby, it's going to be like son, daughter, granddaughter, grandson, except without the signifiers. You just rock back and forth, and that's a baby. So you have adult, teen, children, child, and baby. And that's all the basically different ages of adults that we have. We don't classify senior citizens. They're still adults. So next we have is a relationship and all the different kinds of relationships a person can have. So you take, it's going to be like a family in that you're going to end in S, but you're going to interlock the round parts of the F, because when you have a relationship, you're linked to somebody. So to signify that you have a relationship with someone of whatever kind, you would go back between, like, if you and I have a relationship because I'm your teacher, you're my student, that, or if they have a relationship because they're both students in the same class, then you would do that. But whomever has a relationship, or just relationship in general. So different kinds of relationship statuses that one can find on Facebook. We won't go over all of them because some of them are kind of weird. Is single. Take an index finger and right next to the mouth, single. I don't know why, just single. And then next you have is maybe you're dating someone. So you take two D's and you just bump them together, because kissing, dating. Next we have is if dating's going really well, you'll become engaged. So you have a hand out, dominant hand on top, making an E, and then right over the ring finger, you just bounce it, so you can say, oh, she's engaged. Damn it, too late, kidding. And then if the engagement goes through, then you will become married. So you have kind of two relaxed C's, and you have your hand like this in holy matrimony, and that's a sign for married. And then if you don't have your happy ending, we go right back to dating, but they're not dating, so they broke up, they divorced. Divorced. So you have single, dating, engaged, married, divorced. And those are all the relationship statuses. If you don't want to do with any of relationships and you just want to stay friends, that's a viable option as well. You'd have two crooked hands like this. I'm going to interlock them like that. Friend. Oh, we're just friends. Not a bad situation. But people can also be other things. They can be a boy friend or a girl friend. And then if the boyfriend or girlfriend are working out, then they'll become a fiancé. So like engaged, except with an F, you'll say, oh, that's my fiancé, or that's his fiancé, right over the ring finger. And then as far as a spouse, you can be a husband, which is like married, but you're going to go forehead first and then back to the married sign, or chin first for wife and then back to the married sign. So husband and wife. And sometimes when well, all the time when you get married, unless you're married to an orphan, you will get in-laws. So you take one hand open like this, and then the dominant hand is going to make an L. You're going to top to bottom in-law. It's the sign actually for law, but in-law. And so you will have a mother-in-law, oh, a brother-in-law, all kinds of in-laws. And a lot of times when you get married, you do get step people. I don't know why it's step, but we have step people. For step, it's going to be like law, except you're going to put it to the side and you can just rock it. So you can have a step mother, a step sister, all of that. So that's the sign for step. So moving out of the domestic realm and into the professional realm, you might go to work, which is two A's, two S's, whichever one you're more comfortable with. It doesn't really matter, but dominant hand on top, and you do that because you're grinding away your day, your life, your time, work. And then at work, you might need to assist someone. So you have two 10s, and then just right here. Assist meaning assist, support, help someone do something, whereas a sign for help is something that is more like something dire or needs something physically done. If that kind of clarifies it for you a little bit more, of like help is like I am in trouble, I need help, things are dire. Whereas assist is like, hey, can you assist me with my homework? Can you assist me with this project? It's not the most dire thing. I guess a project could be if you wait till the night before, but assist. And then after that we have manage. So you take two like this, and you're just going to rock them back and forth, and that's for manage, control, be the boss over, what have you. And last we have library. It's about time you knew how to say library, so you take an L and just go in a circle, and library. Okay? So, with these signs, people, when you talk about people in the public or work environment, a lot of times you'll say employee or you'll say manager. You have that word ending on the end that makes a verb or a noun into an actual identify an actual person. And so ASL has a similar thing. It's just down like that, two hands and down. And this is the sign for ist, and all the different endings that you have. So work becomes an employee or worker. And then assist becomes an assistant. And then manage becomes manager. And ASL idioms, you can also say boss, because you wouldn't necessarily say boss in a more formal situation, but you know, if you're sitting at the lunch table and he's like, oh, that's my boss over there. Same thing, same sign, meaning. But if you're introducing them, you'd be like, oh, this is my manager, not my boss. And so those two signs are for manager, boss, and supervisor, or what have you. And then last we have, of course, if you are working in a library, chances are you're a librarian. So librarian. And that's how that works out. So you can have a basketball player, you can have a football player, you can have a painter. Same thing. This signifies that it's a person connected to that word. Okay? And so last but not least are some somewhat important signs. A police officer. There is no policing. It's just you take a C next to the chest to signify the badge that they will have on their chest, and it's a cop. We do respect police officers, I swear, but police officer, the police, cop, it's all the same sign. Fireman is, you're going to take your hand like this and tap your forehead, because it's trying to make the same shape of the weird hats that they have that has that kind of thing that goes up. Some people do sign fire man or fireman. And so either one of those should work just fine. And then doctor, you have your wrist out, and then your dominant hand can make a D and tap right here. Some people do an M, and it's like you're taking the pulse of someone. So doctor, doctor, same thing. Nurse, it's take an N and then take a pulse right here, nurse. And those are all the people in your public life that you're more than likely to encounter. I don't have any oddities because this video would be way longer. But anyways, this is lesson 6, and I will see you for the next lesson in lesson 7 and the last lesson. And so until then, sign happy.